Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. I have a returning guest, and our returning guest today is the one and the only V. Castro. How are you,
Hello,
V?
I am great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
It's
I
great
love
to
being
see
here.
you. Thanks
Good
for
to see
joining us
you.
again. You were here recently to talk about
hmm
your excellent Rebel Moon novelizations and your fantastic Alien Vasquez novel, all of which you wrote for Titan Books and are currently available from the links attached to our conversation. But we are right here to talk about your all-new novel, Immortal Pleasures. Look, it's right there. What a cover. What a
Yes,
cover.
it is a sexy cover. It is a dark cover because, well, it's really funny. Vampires have suddenly made a comeback. Like, I'm seeing so many vampire books, vampire films, and I'm like, well, vampires never died. They're amazing.
They
People
literally
love them.
never died. It's so true. It's so true.
Literally. Yes, so it is a dark, sultry, very Anne Rice-esque vampire novel.
Now, it's this book is very, very firmly in that dark, sultry, sensual wheelhouse that you've created
Yes.
for yourself. That's your zone, if you will. What was, before we talk about the book specifically, what was it about this part, this area of the literary world that drew you in the first place? What was your journey to becoming a writer, working within the subject matter?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, growing up, I absolutely loved vampires. I've watched Fright Night, The Lost Boys, all of the
Both
greats.
of them.
I love them. Fantastic. And those are just two. But when I got older, watched Nosferatu, I read Dracula, and again, it just fed this love for vampires. And then older Anne Rice, even though when I say older, I'm like 14, 15. And it's like, um, excuse me, what are you reading at 15? Anne Rice? Yes. So read all of those. And it's just something that I'm really curious. I think, you know, this creature that sucks your blood, that's dead but undead, that's immortal. It's quite romantic, and the act of taking someone's blood is quite sensual and erotic, and it lends itself, I think, to that type of book. And so, yeah, even though I was way too young to be watching these films and reading these books, it was still something that shaped me. And I just love the genre, subgenre of horror, and finally had the chance to write one myself. So I did.
Amazing. Am I right in thinking, in believing, V, that you came to writing fairly late in life? Is that right?
I did. I started writing when I was 38,
Wow, amazing.
maybe a little younger. So I started in 2016,
Yeah,
2017.
yeah.
And I'm in mid 40s now. And I just, again, had the opportunity to start writing, and I did. It's just this burning desire to do it. And I haven't stopped. Literally, I have not stopped. And it's such a privilege, such a joy. And I get to tell the stories that I want to tell now. And kind of represent my community and show the world vampires, creatures, folklore from other parts of the world,
Yeah.
um, and other belief systems. And that's exciting for me too.
Yeah, I think it's such an important thing because a lot of classic vampire iconography and mythology, particularly as it's been disseminated throughout the world by Hollywood, by the
Mm,
movie making system, is comes very much from the classic, quite rightly, from the classic sort of Bram Stoker
yes.
Eastern European tradition, which of course is supremely powerful, supremely gothic, and is something that we all love. But vampire lore is very, very rich
Mm.
in your own cultural history as well, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, look, most cultures have some sort of blood drinking succubus creature, right? And for me, because I do love the original iconic Dracula, I wanted to kind of keep in that spirit, but use a part of his, and I wanted to go back in history. So for me, I wanted to use a part of history that was quite scary and a huge bloody. And so I started the story during the conquest of Mexico, where you had these clashing of cultures, Europe, Spain, Portugal, and then to the New World, what we now call Mexico. And so you have this woman who was an indigenous woman, and she was given to Cortés and had to be his translator as he basically oppressed and conquered her world. And it was like an apocalypse for many of the people, the indigenous population. Many of them died, slaughtered, forced to convert. And it was quite a traumatic time. So out of that bloodshed, I wanted to create this character who is real. So that's what a lot of people don't know, is that Malinalli, La Malinche, as she's known, is a real historical character. She really existed, and she really did translate for Cortés. But again, like a lot of the indigenous population, she died at a very young age from disease, and a lot of her history was erased. So I wanted to go back in time, tell her story, but also, well, what if it was immortalized? What if her life could be lived again? She had that opportunity. What would she say about her past, and what would her present look like? And of course, because it's a vampire book, I wanted to be, a lot of fantasy, romance, and I wanted it to be erotic, but not during the time of history, during that trauma. I wanted to show her transformation, because vampirism is a transformation. And so now you get to see this woman and her transformation through a long period of time.
So fascinating. So can you talk me into where the story begins, and where the actual narrative of the novel stems out
Yes.
from?
Yeah, so it's so funny. The actual book starts where she is in first class on a flight. She's extremely wealthy, and she's heading to Ireland. This is the first time she's ever been to Europe, because it's something because of the trauma of what happened. But what she does as a career is she finds artifacts from all over the world and brings them back to where they belong, especially ones that should be back in the New World. And she finally makes up her mind. Okay, I'm going to Europe. I'm going to start in Ireland. It's safe. And there's also these two skulls from her past, these two artifacts that she wants, that have personal meaning to her. And so she's, living her life. She's living her best life. And yeah, it starts there, and she meets this mysterious horror writer, has this kind of affair with him, and it just goes on to show kind of her evolution of her love life. And it's very, very spicy. So if you're not into that, do not pick it up. But if you do like historical fiction, you like horror, you like romance, you like erotica, it's got all of that in there. And it was fun to write. It's fantasy.
Yeah, all of those good things. That's amazing. And V, what's next for you?
Gosh, really, it is just continually writing, just continue to, promote my work. I have an erotic collection, an erotic horror collection coming out from Clash Books. And so that's in the process of being well, it's finished, but the cover, so that's going to come out. at some
And
point.
how many stories is that?
So there's one big novella in there,
Yeah.
and the book is called The Pink Agave Motel.
Ah,
And I
brilliant.
basically come up with it. How many stories? I can't remember. But the big deal is I've taken all the short story characters that were my, the reader favorites, and I put them in this one place, the Pink Agave Motel. And they're kind of vampire cannibals. It's very wild. And then the rest of the short stories, I've taken from things people love. So they're in the Cabin in the Woods, the film. There's a merman, there's all these different
Right on.
creatures.
Yeah.
I've written up a merman story.
Oh, fantastic.
There's a story about a tarot reader. There's just wild stuff. So that the cover will be revealed for that soon. I'm working on a YA project that's like scary stories to tell in the dark. And then I'm working on a new novel, which is actually completely different. It's actually a crime novel, true crime. There's no speculative. And it's based on occult murders that happened in Mexico. And that one is quite brutal. But again, it's, kind of a true crime narco novel.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Wow. I mean, that's a very rich and involved palette you've got moving forward.
I just love writing everything.
Yeah. Quite right too. Well, Immortal Pleasures is a real triumph, and for anybody who enjoyed The Haunting of Alejandra, also published by Titan, it's very much in that same vein, but exploring different avenue of that same vein.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And but as with Haunting of Alejandra, it feels pure V Castro, I think, and
All of it has that.
has that special quality, which you should feel very proud about, mate.
I am absolutely. I love doing IP work. That's like one of my favorite things to do because it does give me a mental break.
Yeah.
I love playing in different worlds. But then I go back into my own kind of stories and yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No,
fun.
right on. And all the books we've been discussing, Haunting of Alejandra, Immortal Pleasures, the Rebel Moon books, they're all available for order from the links attached to our conversation. And it's always such a pleasure to chat with you, mate. It really is.
Thank you, guys. Be sure to order your copy.
You take care, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Take care, be all the best. Bye-bye. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.